Super Dave here with another Super Dave review. Super Dave here with another exciting Masterverse review, and today we are looking at another one of these waves that have just been released on online stores anyway, and that is Stratos, and that's new Eternia Stratos, and he is looking awesome. Look at that box art there on the bookend, looking neat. A little bit of a weird skirt going down here, but that's supposed to be feathers, kind of. And there's that awesome artwork on the back. If you want to pause and read that bio, you can now. But let's go ahead and break open Stratos and check him out. And here we are in Eternia, getting ready to take a closer look at our Stratos, new Eternia Stratos. So let's first take a look at his accessories. First, taking a look at Stratos' two sets of hands. He first of all comes with a pair of flying or hovering open palm hands. Also a set of weapon holding hands left and right. Then he comes with this breathing mask thing, and then that egg-shaped scepter, which is a lot shorter than the one that came with the Classics weapon pack that goes along with a story, I believe, that was in the comics. And then we have the jetpack, and that's all the accessories that he comes with other than what is already on him. He has this new Eternia flare of this little type belt with a plug-in for that breathing mask we looked at. Then, of course, the straps of his feathers or his wings that come across there. I'm not sure if this collar is removable. It might be. We'll be looking at that in our articulation, a closer look. But he is definitely looking cool. I'm not sure if these are reused parts from Beastman. He's got that big bulk of a body, kind of like we saw with Beastman, but we'll do that in comparisons. But let's first take a look at our Stratos Articulation. Taking a closer look at our Stratos here, let's first take a look at this head. Our head articulation. He's not really going to look up at all because of the helmet here in the back, touching the back of that little feathery collar that goes around his neck. He is going to look down a good amount. He does get a little bit of a head pivot, a little bit better than what we've seen on some. Of course, look side to side. Let's see if that feathery collar thing is removable. Yes, it is. He's able to remove that. And while we're at it, let's just go ahead and spin him around and look. You can remove that entire chest armor by undoing those straps, which would also allow you to remove this new Eternia belt type piece that the mask is going to plug in, which we'll look at in just a moment. But you can see you can remove that and then keep the chest armor on and actually remove those pieces. And as you see back here, also you can see the little area for the jetpack to slide on. You have these little pieces that go down, so you can just kind of slide them inside of there and then shift them down to lock them into place. And boy, that looks really cool, and it stays on really securely, so that's really neat. All right, I'm going to put this back on there. You can either leave that off or put that on him. If you leave it off, it looks more like a Classics Stratos, but if you put it on, I guess that would be, as we've been saying, more of a new Eternia Stratos. A little bit more feathers going on there. Going on to his arms, he'll get 360. He'll strike a T pose. He does have bicep swivel, and he gets double jointed elbows with great range there. Really good range, or tight. Not sure if they reused the buck and the body, or the arms rather, of Beastman. We'll take a look at that in comparisons, but in that color it does look like new parts. I do believe the chest is new and the legs, but I'm not 100% sure. I believe the feet are reused to Beastman's, and it may be all of it. It just, in that different color, it's hard to tell right away, and just a completely different format. But I do believe the Classics did that, and possibly the Vintage as well. But anyway, moving on to the diaphragm here, he will crunch forward a good amount there. He'll even bend back a little bit, and he does get some of that side to side bending motion, and you can turn a little bit too with that ball joint diaphragm, and of course also swivel at the waist. I like the fact that they have the Classics belt here as well, and then the two-tone feathering up in this section here. In the picture it almost looked like this was too long, but I think it looks good on the actual figure here. But let's go ahead now and look at his legs. He will get full splits there. He also has thigh rotation, double jointed knees. They also do the boot cut, even though there's no boot. Not so sure that we could have done without that, since we have the thigh rotation, just because it creates so many cuts. I know in Marvel Legends, most of the time if there's not a boot, a lot of times they will leave out that boot cut area. He also gets full tiptoes. He'll go up a good amount, and excellent rockers with the peg hole in the bottom of his foot. So this Stratos gets relatively good articulation, and I just think he looks really good. This is a good looking action figure. He's really neat. I like the fact that they have the two sections here. Instead of just one piece like they did in Classics and the Vintage, you have two sections that are tabbed together underneath. You see there is a darker red with a wash, and it's more of a flat paint on that upper section, and see it does swivel independently from this second section that's wrapped around his wrist like a gauntlet. But then the gauntlet area feathers here is more of a satin with a brighter red without the wash. So you see that they really went to a lot of attention on this guy. He just looks really good, I think, all the way around. And taking a look at this belt, this new Eternia belt that attaches, makes it look like it attaches to this backpack. Let's go ahead and look at this mask. You can slide that right on, and notice this V, upside down V that is over his nose here. That's where this slides right onto. It's almost like there's a perfect place for it. As you see, it just covers that section of his mouth perfectly, and then you can tab that hose right into the belt, and boy, isn't that neat. I don't know exactly what the purpose of that. We may find out in the Revolution cartoon that's going to be released, the series on Netflix, or possibly the Dark Horse comics, but that is really neat touch. I like that. Again, all of that is removable if you want more of the Classics look, but that is really cool. And I also like the fact that they used a high gloss with those eyes. That is really nice touch as well. Just am pleased with that head sculpt, whether it's with the mask or without it. Looks cool. And we'll do some comparisons here in a few moments. And I want to mention to you while we're here with Stratos that you may want to go check out my video of figures, playsets, and accessories that work well with Classics or Masterverse figures, because I use this Jazzware girl figure here from the Fortnite line that they released a few years ago as his daughter, and you can still get her pretty cheap on eBay, I believe, but and maybe even Amazon. But this is really cool, because I thought that when I saw her, I thought, man, that's Stratos' daughter. That's that's what I thought of when I saw her, and I think they go well together. Even here, she's of course shorter, but that's her daughter. I did not get lucky enough to get a hold of the Super 7 Avian girl, female, that Super 7 released in the Classics line that looked kind of like the Filmation, but it came with two heads. One of them could be, forget what the names were, but I think one of them could have been his wife. But then again, I think in the comics, I do believe he had a wife that was not of his race or whatever, of his tribe or people, but I'm not sure about that. But anyway, he has a daughter, and maybe one day I'll get a hold of that Super 7. Unless they come out, hey, maybe they'll come out if the line goes deep enough and people support it. Maybe they'll release some female versions and some more of these. And then I'll also compare him to the Classics one, both the comic book Stratos and the Classics one, here in just a moment as we get ready to do comparisons. Doing our comparisons here of old Stratos, we see that the Masterverse one is quite a bit different than the Classics, and the color of his feathers is gray, is definitely a lighter color, but he's a lot taller as well, but most everything's pretty much similar. Now, there were two versions of this Classics Stratos. There was one with red wing feathers on his arms with a blue chest armor, and then I got the one with the blue feathered arm parts with the red chest armor and the red jetpack. But as you see, it's very similar. And here's a surprise that I did not realize: the comic book version actually did have, I mean, he's almost inspired by both, because he had the feathers around his neck like the Masterverse one here, as well as this little piece that came over his belt there. So I did not remember that, but yes, when I look back at the mini comics, and there's a picture of it, he did have those in the mini comics. So that is really cool. Now, when I got this one on eBay, I did not get his Avian staff, which was a lot taller like that, whereas this one is short. And I'm still not sure of all the backstory of that. I've really not been able to find it anywhere, but that is just cool that they kind of give you pieces of both. And even in this, see, he did not have the beast type feet on the Classics gray version, whereas in the mini comics he does. So yes, he's inspired by both, and apparently he may be, you know, going to be inspired by that also in the upcoming Revolution series on Netflix, as well as possibly the Dark Horse comics that are coming out next month. So that's really cool, and so that is really neat. Let's look at the back of them right quick. So according to the MOTU Classics bio cards, the Avian people could fly, especially when they use the Emerald Staff, but in this particular case they would put these jetpacks on to help to speed up their flying ability. So that's one theory. And you see the mini comics one over here does not have the jetpack, but the Classics ones did. But I think they improved on it here. Yes, they did put more detail on the Masterverse one. It has a little bit more of a shine. I like it personally better than I do the one that came with Classics, but that is just me. And I also like what they did with his feathers around his waist and midsection pelvis area here. Really, really cool. He's got a gold belt, kind of like he did in the mini comics version. So that's interesting. But yes, really, really cool. And that is just neat how you can kind of see features from both incarnations of Stratos in this Masterverse Stratos. And as far as Beastman, he is definitely a different body than Beastman. He doesn't have that shoulder problem like Beastman, and the arms are different, and the legs are different, and Beastman's feet are actually bigger. So yes, this is pretty much a totally different body sculpt from what I can tell. Beastman is definitely wider too than Stratos here. So yes, believe we've got a all new buck and body mold here for our Stratos. Cool. And there you have Stratos and his daughter flying up and away there. And that is so cool, complete with his cool looking mask thing there. And again, you can see how that belt kind of corresponds with the belt that was on the comic book version of Stratos. So that's really cool. And then also the part around his neck there, the feathers around his neck also correspond with the mini comic one. So that is just really cool. And he can fly, got his flying hands kind of posted on there, and I think he looks good with his daughter there. That is so neat. And I did go back and look, and I renamed the Valkyrie here, the Fortnite, as Stratos' daughter, Avery the Valkyrie. There you go. And I was correct. Stratos' wife in the mini comics was a human, and her name was Delora. And there's a picture of her there from my video. And again, you can go check that out in my series there on figures, playsets, and accessories that work well with MOTU Classics or Masterverse. And here, I believe again, she works well with this Masterverse figure, and I believe I'm going to like this Stratos better than even the classic Stratos, because he just has all the elements of kind of like your Filmation slash vintage slash mini comic slash Mike Young production, and now even the new Eternia. So this guy is awesome. I like his height, I like his build, I like his accessories, I like that mask. And there he is with his oldest daughter, Avery the Valkyrie. And so cool. Awesome. If you've enjoyed this video, please give us a like, subscribe if you've not done so yet, and also comment if you have something to share, a question. And we'll look forward to seeing you next time on another Super Dave review. Here's some photos in the photo gallery. Be blessed.